everybody.
Hello.
Hi, you all hear me? Nice to see
Yes.
you. I'm Alexis Brink, and I'm in New York, and I want to
Oh,
just show you quickly.
wow.
Wow.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But that's the nice thing about, we can be all over the world now, which is so cool. And I want to introduce you also to Lola.
Hello.
She was sweet enough to get up very early for her.
Yeah.
Because it's 7:30 in the morning here.
Oh, goodness.
And if there's anything that you'd like to ask or any comments, you can put it in the chat room and then Lola will answer it. So you met Lola. And I'm Alexis Brink. I have been a practitioner of the art of Jinshin for 30 years. And I am a TAP trainee, which is a transactional analysis practitioner of the USA TAA. And my trainer is Marion Weisberg. And so we've been working very hard on putting this presentation together. Her with her 50 years of experience in transactional analysis, and me with my 30 years of experience in the art of Jinshin, of energy medicine. And it seems like therapists are really looking for a way that they can bring the body in, bring energy work into their practice for their clients and for yourselves. So I really wanted to make a presentation with basic information that you will walk away with something that you can use immediately in your practice. And for me, the art of Jinshin has been a lifetime study. It's really the only thing that I've ever learned as an energy healing modality, and I'm still learning. Every time I place my hands on someone, I'm learning. Everybody is different. And so I always put together a unique treatment plan for everybody. And I think that's the same for you. Whoever walks through your door is going to be different and individual. So yeah, I think let's start with our PowerPoint. Here. And can this be? So it's intersectional healing, transactional analysis meets the art of Jinshin. It is intersectional healing because, as we will see, how the two modalities and really all modalities overlap. So we're going to take a close look at that and have fun with that. So Lola's just adjusting the little boxes here for me. Okay. So the art of Jinshin, it's a form of energy medicine. And in the East, it is used as medicine. As a matter of fact, you cannot take classes in the art of Jinshin or practice it unless you're a medical professional. In the East, it is really understood how energy moves in the body, and it's really a part of the culture. While in the West, for us, it's kind of a new concept. What is energy and how does it work? How is it related to our body? We look at, in the East, we look at ancestral energy, which is the energies of generations. And so this is our parents, our grandparents, and so on. And it is an energy that is a part of us. And I was thinking about it when you think of episcripts and the way Vanita English is explaining it, it is really also something that is passed down. It could be from generations. And she calls it the hot potato, and it can come from somebody earlier in your life. So in essence, that is the same idea. The problem that the person comes in with may not be exactly the thing that you go to. You go and look at the energy before, the ancestral energy. Jinshin is an art. It's creative, and everybody is unique. Like I said, everybody who comes in is going to be different. And Carl Jung said, and I want to just quote him, and it's interesting because I posted this quote on my Facebook last week, and then Richard Erskine, I took his workshop last week, he mentioned the same. So Carl Jung said, Know all the theories, master all the technique, but as you touch a human soul, be just another soul. And that's the same, and that's where it's an art in for me in my practice, and for you, we have to be creative. The more theories you know and the more technique you know, then they become a part of you. But when you see a human being, you touch their souls and you let go of the theories and tune into them. That's where it's an art and it's creative. And that makes it also beautiful and interesting for us to keep it creative. The art of Jinshin has also a vast technique to it. Like I said, I've been studying this for 30 years and still learning. I had a talk with my teacher yesterday and we went over flows and exploring. So it's an exploration. Um, in Jinshin, we have about probably 150 different flow patterns that I can choose from. We listen to the pulse in the wrist, and you can feel anything, everything that's going on in the body by listening to the pulse, and not just in the body, on a body, mind, and spirit connection. You can feel everything in the pulse. The pulse in and of itself is a lifetime study. And so, yes, it's a beautiful, we call it an art, basically. So the purpose of Jinshin is to harmonize and balance the energy in our body so that it can heal itself. So we are balancing the body, the mind, and the spirit, which we will get into. And it's really the same with transactional analysis. We are also balancing the ego states. When they are in harmony, the person is doing okay. They know when their child comes forth and it's appropriate. And sometimes we need to balance it. There is not enough parent, there is not enough protection, or there is not enough adult who can make, decisions that are just the right thing to do. So, or there's not enough child, there's not enough playfulness. So when these three ego states are in balance, we're doing pretty well. The art of Jinshin is a part of our innate wisdom. We are really all born with this knowledge. And for example, when you think of a baby, they're sucking their thumb, and that's appropriate for a baby to do, related to the cycles of energy that we will go over in a few minutes. They're helping to self-soothe, and they're helping their digestive system. So sometimes you see babies putting these fingers in their mouth, and so that's a baby in need. It tells you energetically what's going on. Or for example, when you're holding this, you're helping to release mental stress. You're helping to harmonize the digestive system. Or sometimes you see people holding their upper arm. They're clearing the waistline, the chest line, and harmonizing their emotional system. So we are constantly holding certain things or certain fingers to harmonize ourselves. So Jinshin really brings an awareness to what we already know. And so you can then go to it directly and be more effective. How does Jinshin work? We have 26 safety energy locations that are on the body, and there are 26 on the right and 26 on the left. I'm just going to show you. These are the 26 locations. So when these 26 are open, there is complete harmony in the body. So very often there is one or more that's congested, and that puts a stop to the free flow of energy. We'll go over those later again. And we use our hands as jumper cables. So that means if you apply this, if you apply your hands to somebody, you are a facilitator and using universal energy. So we're not putting our own energy into it or not taking energy from the person. So when you share this, because you can practice this on yourself or share it with a loved one, with your children or husbands, or, and maybe in your practice a little bit as well, then again, if you apply your hand, energy starts to move. And so me as the practitioner, I tap into this source energy, this universal energy. And if that doesn't happen, if my ego is in the way and if I'm trying really hard, the energy will just not move. And I will explain a little bit how you feel that. So safety energy locations are about 3 inches in diameter, and they're about the size of the palm of your hand. And they are like little warning signs when they tell us exactly what's going on. So when they close and when they get tight, you know that something is going on. And they all have a spiritual meaning and a practical meaning. So Jinshin is really an art of getting to know and help yourself. Because when, for example, this one closes, it tells you exactly what's going on in your body, and you get to understand that. So I would like to tell you a little bit of a little story of how I came to it. When I was 18, I moved from Amsterdam, Holland to New York to be a dancer. And I got into this dance company called the American Dance Machine. And we had a teacher. She was so tough. She was Russian, and she just absolutely killed us. After class, we would just all collapse on the floor and just lay there. And so my trying hard driver was really activated, and the try hard driver has to do with the skeletal system trying hard, which we'll see later. In any case, I did a turn and my bones really hit each other, and I had this chronic knee injury that was very hard to resolve. I went to acupuncture and all kinds of things, till a friend of mine brought me to the woman who became my teacher, Philomena Dooley, to watch his session. And after his session, she said to me, "So what's with you?" And I said, "Well, I have this knee problem." And she said, "Wait a minute. We call problems projects because we change them and they're fun to work with." And so she took a hold of my little toes and squeezed them. And believe it or not, I was able to go back to rehearsal the next day. And she taught me some things that I can do for myself. And I never had to stop dancing again, because every time when it would come up, I was able to harmonize it. And she said, "Why don't you take my workshop next week, and then you can work on your friend." And my friend was very sick. He had MS. So I took her workshop, 5 days. And as I said, the technique is vast. So I had no clue what she was talking about. But after the 5 days, I said, "This is what I want to do the rest of my life." And there was something about it. And I think that something about it was to feel connected to this bigger source energy. And if you're around this work for a few days, as we were 5 days, and working on each other and learning about it, you connect to this source energy. So I think we all have felt it. Today, we see a lot of yoga and meditation. And when you feel in the flow, it's when you are connected to source energy, basically. So it's nothing really that's not available to us. It is available to us all. And it is where healing takes place. So let me see. We always go to the cause of the project, because if we go to the effect, it's ultimately, either going to come back. So for a while, it may feel better, but then ultimately is not. So we always go to the cause. And that's when you feel, when you listen to the energy. And we'll practice that a little bit. And yeah, like I said, the same is for ego states. If you change the perception, then it changes, and we go to the cause of it. So in TA, we're talking about the script, and it's like peeling an onion. A client comes to you with, they have problems with their husband. And what we do is we go and explore the script, what's going on. And that's the same that we do in Jinshin. It's we go to the cause, and then we peel the onion layer by layer. A little bit of the history. This is Master Jiro Murai. He is the father and founder of the art of Jinshin. And when he was in his early 20s, he became terminally ill, and he was from a family of doctors and nobody could help him. So he said, okay, I've heard about these ancient traditions of healing and meditation, and please give me a chance to see if this will work for me. So he went up into the mountain cabin for a week and practiced hand mudras, which are finger holds. For example, I will give you one now. This is one of them, which you can all practice right now. He gave us 8. He practiced 8 in the mountain cabin. So you're placing the palm of your middle fingers together and fold the others, and just stay with that. It's helping a lot of things. It's helping the exhale. It's helping fatigue in the body. It's a harmonizer. It helps to harmonize the whole body. So he practiced meditation, hand mudras, and he fasted. And after 8 days, he was better. His family walked up the mountain to see if he was dead or alive. And he walked down the mountain and he was bouncing around better. So he said, I'm going to devote the rest of my life to the research and development of what he called Jinshin Jitsu. And he thought a lot about this name, what he should call it, and decided on Jinshin Jitsu. Jin means person, Shin means creator, and Jitsu means art. So to make it easier, I've called it the art of Jinshin. So I've translated Jitsu. So it's easier to remember for people. But it's really an art delivered through compassionate person. And Shin, the creator part, is really the universal energy that we're working with. So through the universal energy delivered through us, through human beings, we're delivering this art to harmonize the energy in the body. And it's interesting to know that Einstein's theory of relativity came about at the same time. It came out in 1905, and so did this. And Einstein talked about energy is matter in a different density. And so that's exactly what this is. All these like acupuncture, Reiki, Jinshin Jitsu, they all came about at the same time that Einstein was developing in the West this theory. And when I say energy is matter in a different density, that's very important, because in effect, what we do when you apply the art of Jinshin is you're harmonizing matter, our individual body, back into rhythm with universal energy. And we can feel that through the pulse. So when you're holding this mudra, you may feel a pulsation coming up. You may feel pulsation here at your fingertips or somewhere else. And that's the energy spiraling. And that's our bodies harmonizing into rhythm. And the same in TA, and that's what Richard Erskine, his workshop was about being in rhythm and being in rhythm with each other. And when we're in rhythm with each other, we are universally and globally in harmony. And so that's basically how it works. So Jeremiah did a lot of research on himself. He would eat, for example, for 2 weeks, he would eat the same food and see how the energy would flow in his body. And so most of you have heard of meridians. The flow patterns that he discovered are very similar to meridians, but slightly different because of his research. So they're very intricate flow patterns that move through the body. So he did a lot more research, but I won't go into that. Mary Burmeister was one of his students, and she was half American and half Japanese, and she was teaching English in Japan. And she was brought to his lectures, and he said to her, would you like to bring a gift from Japan to the United States? And she said, sure. And she thought she was going to get a little package to put in her suitcase. And she got this whole awesome art technique to take home. So it took her 17 years to write her first textbook, because she really had to work it out. So Jeremiah did a part of it, then Mary did a part of it. And I just recently came out with my textbook. Actually, if you're wondering what I've been doing during quarantine, I finished my textbook, which is really my life's work. So anyway, so Mary Burmeister brought in a lot of the philosophy because, as I said, in the East, it was not really necessary. People understand it. But she brought in really the spiritual aspect of it, of the body, mind, and spirit connection, and all the meanings and the relationship to astrology and numerology and colors and music and all of it. So it's all inclusive, which makes it so interesting. And yeah, I also thought it was interesting. I did an interview with Stefan Hausner about his constellation work, and some of you have heard of him and I forgot his name. Anyway, constellation work, where you work with your ancestors, and that is very similar to ancestral energy. So yeah, most of you already really understand the concept. In the art of Jinshin, the breath is really important, and not just in the art of Jinshin, in all modalities. Without the breath, energy cannot move and we cannot heal. And you can how you can see this in your client is when they're sitting there and they're unable to exhale, and maybe they cannot receive a stroke. So receiving has to do with the inhale, and then we are letting go with the exhale. And you can see it physically on somebody when they're sitting like this. They're not exhaling, they're holding the breath right in their chest. When they're not inhaling, maybe they're looking really empty and they won't be able to receive. So the exhale has to do with giving and letting go. And the inhale has to do with receiving and with receiving the abundance. So the exhale is really more important, because if we don't exhale completely, we cannot receive. And also when you exhale, and you can see for yourself when you breathe, the inhale will automatically happen. It's really important to exhale all the way out to the toes, and then inhale from the toes all the way up to the back. So sometimes if you're thinking, how can I practice this with a client, you can ask them to place their hands on their belly and just ask them to exhale, or bring awareness to the exhale, energy moving down the front, and then that the inhale will automatically happen. So it's nothing like trying really hard to breathe here. It's not like that, because this is where our sympathetic nervous system kicks in, and it's with the parasympathetic nervous system that healing really takes place, which is at the abdominal area. And so there's nothing to try really hard. It's just an awareness of exhaling and letting go, and inhaling and receiving. In Jinshin, we talk about the 36 divine breaths. And like I said, there's something about numerology, and 3 and 6 is 9. 9 is the end of a cycle to begin a new 10. So with 9, we exhale, we let go. And then with 10, we inhale the abundance. And the meaning of 10 is abundance and bringing in air. So you see how everything works together with numerology. Are there any questions, Lola, so far?
No.
Okay, great. We'll take a break for questions after the next slide. So I've put together a system with Marion where we were looking at the depths, and I'm going to explain the depths a little bit, and the cycles of energy, the drivers. So a depth is a cycle of energy, and it cycles from skin surface to core, literally through the body. The first depth 1, creates our skin surface. Depth 2, the deeper skin. Depth 3, the blood. And you don't have to take notes. We'll get to this later. Or some of it is on the chart here. and depth 4 muscle, and depth 5 skeletal. So as energy spirals, it spirals from surface to core and core back to surface. So it's always this spiraling of energy going on, as well as spiraling down the front and up the back. And that's why it's so powerful. It goes very deep in the body. So what I wanted to do a little practice with you and just move through the fingers, because I've been talking about the 36 divine breaths. A very easy way to do it is 3 exhalations with each of the fingers and palm, both sides, and then we come to 36. So after we do that, I'm going to explain all the details, but I would like to explore for yourself what it feels like. And so let's start by holding the thumb gently and just bring awareness to your breath. And let's practice 3 conscious exhalations. And I'm going to just keep talking a little bit, just the way you're going to hold it. So you'll hold it gently, and also observe if you're holding your right finger or your left. So take 3 breaths. And what I would like you to observe is which finger feels most comfortable for you. And let's switch to the other side now. So gently hold your other thumb and see how that one feels. It's going to feel slightly different because the right side and the left side, they tell a different story. So make sure you're doing this deep belly breath. And again, there's nothing to do. The Jinshin will automatically bring you into the breath. And then let's move to our index finger. And so you're holding it gently. And I would like you to see if you can feel a pulsation coming up into the hand that you're holding it with. So from the finger that you're holding, if you can feel a pulsation. And then let's hold the other finger. Again, observe the difference between right and left. And you may feel one finger on the right side very comforting and one finger on the other side. So that's very possible. And then let's move to our middle finger. Now, see if you feel a pulsation maybe on the base of the finger or in the middle or on the tip. They all help different things. Or see if it feels comfortable to have your fingertips on the palm of the hand. The palm of the hand helps to exhale, and the back of the hand helps to inhale. The middle finger also helps deep fatigue in the body. And then let's move to the other finger. So I just want to tell you a little bit about the right side and the left side of the body. The right side has to do with our lifestyle. So environment, diet, and daily stresses. And the left side has to do with more genetic and older trauma in the body. Did I do that page? Can you find it? Then let's move to the ring finger. See how the ring finger feels. And the interesting thing that if you practice this on different days, you're going to have different fingers that feel comfortable for you. And what feels comfortable for you is the place to go to. And let's hold the other ring finger. So at the same time, you're probably looking at the chart. So the hand, you can see how many things it helps. It helps a feeling. We'll go over that a little bit later. It helps 2 organ flows in the body. So in essence, by holding your fingers, you're helping the whole body. All right, and then let's go to the ring finger. The ring finger helps our deep emotional system. It helps to open up the heart. It literally helps the heart too. It helps the organ. So if you have heart projects, you can hold your little finger. And then let's move to the other one. So you see how just by moving through the fingers, how we have allowed ourselves to receive these 36 divine breaths. And then bringing the palms together. The palms is where all the energy comes together. And when you think again of a baby, when they're like this energy, this umbilicus energy needs to be harmonized. And when it's open, it's a baby in harmony. And for us too, if we're sitting sometimes like this, you need this energy. So this helps to energize the body. And in Japan, they greet like this, observing our whole body. When somebody enters your office, you're also observing their whole body. So in Japan, they do it like this. Sometimes in the West, we shake hands, right? And I hope that we're getting back to that. But imagine how you're getting to know the person when you're shaking their hand on an energetic level. Yeah. And if you don't shake hands, you can just absorb the person and see where their energy is. So I would like you to just make a note of what you felt, and maybe you want to put something about it in the chat room. And after we go through this, we will take a few minutes for questions and comments and experiences. So like I said, Marian and I put together this 5 drivers meet the 5 depths. And as I said, a depth is a cycle of energy. So if we look at the first one and holding the thumb helps to harmonize worry. So for example, I'm in a group, a transactional analysis group, and there was this person who brought up this issue, and he said, yes, I've made this decision. I'm not going to go to graduate school, and I really don't want to discuss it because I don't want to burden you. I haven't worked it out completely yet, but of course, that's what a group is for, right? So I asked him, do you have a please me driver? And he said, yes, I think I do. And so I started to ask him, do you worry a lot? And he said, yes. And he has some digestive projects going on. And so if you think of please me driver and think about somebody with low self-esteem, they're feeling insecure and they probably have to please someone to find this proper attachment or this proper acknowledgement from the other person. And so that would burden the first depth, or depth 1, the first cycle of energy. And so when you hold the thumb with a please me driver, it will help their self-esteem. It will help their self-worth, and it will harmonize their worry. So these are things that you can start to look at in yourself or in your practice, starting to put the 2 systems together. And I, of course, would like to hear your comments about this, because these are very much my observations. And so in essence, I'm still exploring this. The opposite of worry is trusting. And when you trust, you can let go of the worry. So the thumb is also really helpful for insomnia, because when we cannot sleep, then we're probably thinking about something and our mind is really active and we're worrying about something that we cannot do anything about right now. And again, thinking of the baby who sucks their thumb, young child in harmony, they're self-soothing. And what do? We take it out and we put in a pacifier. No, the baby's actually helping themselves. So that's a beautiful thing. So that's a good thing. And if they're too old and still sucking their thumb, we might want to look at this cycle of energy, of this depth 1 energy. And then the second one, depth 2, can be harmonized by the ring finger. And that has to do with a Be Strong driver. And I have a client who came to me with intestinal projects. She has Crohn's disease, and that has to do with the large intestine. And she brought in her daughter who had this big project. Young woman was 28. And I saw how her mother, who is my client with this intestinal project, how she was holding everything together. And she was so strong. And I thought, wow, don't you have any emotion about this? And I just saw her, this Be Strong driver. So in her session, I asked her, and she doesn't know transactional analysis, but I said, do you have a Be Strong driver? Are you always really holding things together? And she said, yes. And so there's your relationship to large intestine energy and lung. Lung and large intestine are on the same cycle of energy. So here are the projects that it helps: asthma, allergies, breathing, intestinal projects. And so the opposite is vulnerability. What if she would let go? And sometimes when she lets go, she starts to, tears start to come up in her practice because she's holding on so much. She's so strong that when she lets go, tears come. So I wrote down solid like a rock, because the actual texture, and I feel that in the body, feels like rocks. It feels like rocks and rods. That's the texture that we also, as Jinshin practitioners, look at. So you can literally feel it in the body. It feels like tight muscles. Be strong. So for the hurry up driver, the middle finger has to do with acceptance. And that was something else that Richard Erskine was also talking about, to be in your own rhythm. And if you can't be in your rhythm because you have a hurry up driver, that can cause anger and frustration, because you're always rushing, and you just need to stop and exhale. And I was thinking, when I was a dancer, I think it was partly hurry up driver, and it was partly try hard. And hurry up, depth 3 has to do with tendons and muscles. And so when I hurt my knee, it was partly try hard, skeletal, and partly hurry up. I was always hurrying up. I was walking on my toes. I was trying really hard. And there was a hurry up driver because I really couldn't keep up. I think I'm better at the Jinshin than I was at the dancer. So I was not in my own rhythm, and I hurt my body. So if we just look at the little notes here. So it's related to depth 3, which on the finger chart, you see it is related to blood. So blood conditions can be helped by holding the middle finger. Unable to inhale and receive, running ahead of oneself. Another quality of depth 3 is bossiness. Not okay to be in your own timing. Not letting go causes toxicity. So exhaling is really important. Some people, they wake up every night. I'm just going to give you a little bit more, but it's all these energies move in a 24-hour cycle. And so when people wake up at 3 in the morning every night, it has to do something with this depth 3 cycle. And so for people who wake up every night, it's the body talking and saying, okay, what's going on? So depth 3. Like you see, it helps joints also. So also for joint pain, you can hold the middle finger. And, I'm holding, like I said, I've been practicing this so long. For me, it's really a part of me. I hold something all the time, and you can too. And then you're practicing the art of Jinshin already. So in any case, even if this is a lot of information, you're going to walk away with something that you can do. The next one is the Be Perfect driver, and it has to do with fear. The opposite of fear is love, as Marianne Williamson also always says. She says there's two things, there's fear and there's love, so that's your choice. Unfortunately, today there's a lot of fear, and even young people and kids. I have a son in college who often calls me, Mom, I've panicked, what can I do? Or what can I do for my friends? Well, holding the index finger is really powerful, simple help to harmonize fear. And for example, when you are giving a session to somebody and your client feels really scared or is having a panic attack or is unable to be in the here and now, then you can just ask them to hold their index finger or invite them to hold their index finger gently and just take these 3 breaths, and that will bring them into the here and now. And also if you feel triggered during a session and feelings are starting to come up, to bring you back into the here and now, you can hold a finger, and people don't even notice when you're practicing these simple holds. So the Be Perfect driver can cause back projects, because if you look at the finger chart, it helps the kidney and bladder energy. And the kidney and bladder energy, they run down the back. The bladder moves over the top of the head, so it clears depression as well. Moves down the back of the neck and then down the back. It helps muscles, and also tight back of the legs, anything in the back. So in reverse, you can see if you have a client or yourself, if there's a lot of back pain, is there an issue of fear, anxiety, and is there potentially a Be Perfect driver? So that's just an interesting thing to play with and to look at. And then the last one, oh, by the way, Mary Burmeister says fear is false evidence appearing real, and it's a little bit like worry. It's, there's an actual reason to have fear when there's a fire and we have to run out to save our lives, or worrying about a fear about something that's going to happen and just living in fear. That's just not a helpful thing. So. Moving along to try hard, the opposite is authenticity. Trying hard is efforting, and it's the same in Jinshin. We call it the try hard. So try hard driver, trying hard. It helps the heart and small intestine. So that's why it also helps our deep emotions. And it's very interesting. The season is summer, and it's related to our skeletal system. And I realized that 1 year, or actually 3 years in a row, I would break my little toe every year in the summer. And the next year I realized I started to get this feeling again of trying hard. And that's when I realized, oh, wow, every time at this time of the year, every year, I have been breaking my little toe. What's going on? And I got into my try hard driver and into this 5th cycle of energy, this 5th depth. And I didn't break it that year. So again, the art of Jinshin is really an art of getting to know myself and really exploring. So let's have some questions. We're just going to get out of let's have some discussion, some comments, some experiences. Oh, okay, great. What is the physiology of the connection to different fingers from the parasympathetic nervous system? Is that known or not yet? Well, the thing is that with the art of Jinshin, you automatically get into the parasympathetic nervous system because our breath, if you notice, started to change. And so that goes automatically. I don't know if that answers your question exactly. But yeah, so how can we do that? Can we talk to somebody, or I'm not sure that's very. Somebody says, Phil, you want to come? Felt pulsation in the middle of the index finger and the top of the middle finger. Be strong and hurry up are my main drivers. Yeah, so that's really interesting. You know, in Eastern philosophies, everything is on a circle. In the West, everything is linear. So one thing is energizes the other and energizes the other and energizes the other. So there's an order to order, and there's also an order to disorder. And so that's what we're breaking. And so if you have an hurry up driver and you really feel that this is comfortable, the Be Perfect driver may need to be harmonized first and then energizes the other one. So there's a relationship between all of them. Also, I want to explain, and we're going to get in, after this, we're going to get into the body, mind, and spirit connection and the chest, waist, and hip line. The tips of the fingers helps the chest line. The middle part helps the waistline, and the hip line, the bottom helps the hip line. So chest line, waistline, hip line, chest line, waistline, hip line. How does holding the fingers help to ease the symptoms? Is that what we put energy into by holding that finger, or is it the intention to heal? It's definitely our intention to heal, but that's why Jinshin is such a beautiful art, because we can actually do something which is so easy. Because when we hold something, when we hold a safety energy location, the energy starts to harmonize by itself. So there's nothing more we have to do. And when you're simply meditating, that can be hard too, because your mind starts to run and you never get there. Or it takes a practice to get there. And so in effect, you can combine mindfulness practices or meditation with holding the fingers. And I work with somebody from India, Nithya Shanti is his name, and he practices mindfulness and he uses Jinshin at the same time. So I hope that answers your question. I wish we could have a communication.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can you do it, Lola?
Feel free if you want to speak your question out loud, you can just unmute yourself and ask it. So feel free right now if that's something you'd like. Just another question.
Is this doable when people have limited lung capacity and deep inhalation is difficult? Yes, absolutely, because there's nothing to do. If you hold the ring finger, it's going to help the lung energy. It's going to help the lung pathway. It's the pathway, the lung pathway eventually denses down and becomes the lungs. So the actual lung meridian moves into the thumb and into the index finger. So you can hold these two fingers, or you can hold the ring finger. Here in my chart, it's the ring finger. That's on a different energetic level. But if that person happens to like to hold their index finger, that's going to help the lungs as well, and the thumb as well. So it automatically happens. There's nothing to do. That is what's so beautiful about it. I'm bringing awareness to the breath, but when you think of the pulsation coming up into your fingertips, you're tuning into your body, and your breath automatically starts to slow down and automatically will get into the parasympathetic nervous system. That is our natural state of being. So it's only something that we need to get back to. It's our lifestyle and our hurrying and environment and maybe genetic projects that bring us out of harmony. It's the balance between the right side and the left side. And if one side goes faster or slower than the other, then we get out of harmony. So we're always balancing right and left side. Okay, any more questions?
Hi, Alexis, can you hear me?
Yes, hi.
I am Mike. I'm curious, have you experienced or any examples of clients healing medical conditions through what we're talking about now and releasing energy?
Yes, absolutely. you know, I've had a practice for all those years, and often clients come to me as a last resort. They've tried everything else, or the doctors cannot find anything, but they're absolutely, everything is going on with them physically. So because we listen to what the cause is, we can resolve it. And, you know, I do use more intricate flows that we're covering today, but I do give all of my clients the self-help to take home, simple holds like fingers and some other simple things that we go through. But absolutely, yes, because again, when the energy flows freely and uninterruptedly in the body can heal itself, and we are all capable of healing ourselves. With every cycle of energy, which is the exhale and the inhale, we renew our body. And my friend Deepak Chopra talks about it. I think he says every 6 weeks we are actually a completely new body with new cells, and we're constantly renewing. And again, that is if you recognize that we are energy and we are matter and energy, how they are the same and how they are a reflection of each other. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Can you recommend resources to gain more knowledge on healing oneself through energy healing? Interested in anxiety and skin disorders particularly. Well, yes. In my book, The Art of Jinshin, and I think Lola, right? I have that in. Lola will put, yeah, Lola will put it in the box. There's a whole big system, and I put this in a very simple and accessible for anybody. This is only for self-help. You can also practice this on others, but yes, it's absolutely available. And Jinshin is really a beautiful way because it works similarly to acupuncture, but we don't use needles, and you can apply this to yourself. It's also in a way similar to Reiki, because once you start working with energy, you work with universal energy. But Reiki is much more general treatment, and this is very specific. Like I said, in a way, it's very simple as holding the fingers, but there's a vast technique behind it, which you can explore as you continue the study, which is a beautiful study. So, all right. If there's no more, we're going to have another round of questions. So we are now going to the next slide and talking about the body, mind, and spirit. Yes. Okay. Can you? Oh.
Just click it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've made this chart, seeing the relationship between the body, mind, and spirit, and the parent, the adult, and the child. So here I'm talking about certain qualities because we're taking it in a very big way. And so this is not absolute, like the parent is not exactly our hip line. You know, this is looking about the qualities of each of these aspects. And so the boxes in gray are related to transactional analysis. And then the boxes in white are related to energy work and the art of Jinshin. So I would like to start actually on the bottom with the chest line, because the chest line is right here. And the chest line is the one that connects us to spirit. It is awareness of our state of being. It's where our spirituality lives. It's our soul journey. And it's where our creativity is. It's where unconditional love lives. It's loving yourself as you love your neighbor. And it has all to do with creativity, the reproductive system, and our feelings. So when I studied transactional analysis, I saw a lot of relationship to the child ego state, because it has all to do with our feelings, it has to do with creativity, and it has to do with our stroke economy. you cannot inhale. So the child, I really like the child. So for example, how you can see this is I had a friend who she had a big emotional event with her family, and she started to get heart palpitations. And so after this chart, we will go and see how to resolve it. But that's an example of it, how it manifests actually with the organs here. And then the mind has to do with our waistline. It's the understanding of the human psyche. It has to do with our human beingness. So we have spirit, mind. It has to do with our psychology also, with the words we use. It has to do with our thinking mind. And the mindless script has to do with the capacity to think or not to think. And so, for example, I was working with a doctor. He's actually a psychiatrist and a neurologist. And I did an interview with him. So I gave him a session. And when I went to touch this area, he almost jumped off the table, and we touched very gently. He said, "Oh my God, you cannot touch me there. I'm so sensitive there." And he's a person that's very much in his mind. So he's actually stuck in his mind. So again, you see here on this chest line, waistline, and hip line connection that they all have to be in harmony. If you're stuck here, there's going to be a project below the waist or here. And it's the same in transactional analysis. The parent, the adult, and the child have to be in harmony. The chest line, waistline, and the hip line, they have to be in harmony for the body to function properly. And then we have the body, which is mostly related to our parent in quality. It's the survival of the body. It gives us rules and boundaries. It gives us protection. And it's the knowing part. It's what we can learn. It's the learning. While in the chest line, it's more this state of being. This is knowing. It's the technique part of ourselves. So it's the physical body. And when you think of the parent ego state, it gives us this physical protection, really, and boundaries. It's related to the joyless script and our bodily feelings. And it's important to be aware of our bodily feelings. So let me move along to this. So I hope that you took this up. I don't know if you can get this chart after, but you can certainly take a picture. Lola will send it to you. So this is something to just look at and see if it makes sense to you, have fun with it, and starting to understand the differences between the qualities of the parent, adult, and the child in relationship to the body, mind, and spirit connection. So here we're going to go over some simple holds. And in fact, this is the same information. I've just put it out in a different way. How we can very easily help to harmonize the chest line. And so really help along the child ego state, since it has all to do with our feelings. So how I see this in my practice, for example, is when I have a client and they're very high up here. So I'll start to give them a flow pattern that helps to bring the energy down, right? From here, if it's stuck up here, we need to bring the energy down. And all of a sudden they start to cry. A lot of tears are coming out. So it has something to do with unprocessed feelings. And when we have unprocessed feelings, they can cause disharmony. So what we can do is, using those 26 safety energy locations, is holding the upper arms. The upper arms, yes, and you can put your thumb on the inside, because here you're helping all these meridians as they're moving, the lung flow and the heart flow. And so you're helping all those meridians at the same time as clearing the chest line. You can put the thumb right here and then your fingers on the back. And then taking an exhale, it helps to clear the chest line. It helps us to connect to spirit. It brings us into our awareness, our soul journey. It has to do with our child and creativity, and allows for our innate wisdom to shine through. It balances our feelings and our emotions. And I was seeing another relationship with permission, allowing us to be, permission that we give to our clients, allowing us to be and allowing for our uniqueness. And remember that we are, it's not us that are doing it. If we work with our clients, we are the jumper cable. We are just merely facilitating the energy of the client to harmonize. Even if you would, help them and you would hold it, you are a facilitator. So again, it's not your energy. So this hold helps to harmonize the chest line and helps the SEL 13, these points here that we'll go over later, means love. So feeling love and harmony. So this is a very easy thing that you can do. Now, another really nice thing, if you are stuck in the chest line, then leave one hand on your high 19 and place one hand on the inside of the knee here. So just do that now. So one hand on the upper arm and one hand on the inside of the thigh. Because if energy is stuck in here, you want to bring the energy down. And SEL1, this is SEL1 on the inside of the knee, is also called the prime mover. Like I said, there's a spiritual meaning to it. It helps our digestive system, and it also helps us to move forward in life. So if somebody is very stuck up here, you can hold these, or you can hold high 19 with the opposite high 1. And this, on a physical level, this is good for knee projects. This got me into the art of Jinshin, because there's a relationship between the upper body and the lower body, also an energetic relationship. So I was holding this upper arm and this inside of the knee to help my knee project. If you think of cause and effect again, the knee project may be related to the opposite shoulder. So that's on a physical level. So for me, my knee project came from the opposite shoulder. And that's where our study continues. I do not want to overwhelm you today. I'm giving you some very simple holds that you can take home with you. And then the waistline has to do with our adult, our executive functioning, our thinking, and our mind. And you've seen people that are predominantly very emotional and dealing with their feelings. You go to the chest line, or you know people that are in their minds a lot and using their intellect all the time and being in their mind all the time, thinking all the time. Then there will be something going on in their waistline. That is all a part of our waistline. I was thinking of potency and effectiveness. Being effective, for me, that made a sense to put it in this section, where the permission was more an expression of freedom and uniqueness. Potency and effective has something to do with the mind and with something very material. And I put in structure, hunger, and leadership, because when you hold your SELs 19, as I'm showing here in this picture, SELs 19, the meaning of it is leadership and authority. So this will bring you into leadership and authority. So if you need more leadership and authority, you can simply hold your elbows. And I had a dance teacher, and she would always walk around like that. I can't demonstrate it here very well, but she was always walking around like this, and she had about 60 students in class, and it was definitely her authority that was at hand here. So you see again how we can, how you can see this, how we do this naturally. And again, the client about the mind when he jumped up off the table when I was holding his waistline. So yes, when people are stuck in the middle, you can just simply hold your 19s, SEL 19.
Are both feet on the ground?
You can, yeah, you can put both feet on the ground, or I like to sit myself in cross-legged position. So really whatever makes you comfortable, because the energy also will find its way. One of the beauties is that you cannot go wrong because the energy will always find its way. And then for the hip line, we have the parent, our behavior, and it has to do with the body. So when I work with a lot of dancers, and at one point my whole practice was dancers, my dance teacher, whoever had something going on, she said, go see Alexis. She came to see me too herself. So it was all dancers. And so I work a lot with the hip line because it has to do with the body and the technique part of ourselves. And they hurt themselves really on a physical level. And this simple hold, you place one hand over your shoulder, and just, I would like you to just check on yourself. If we hold SEL 11, which side feels tighter to you? And as I've mentioned before, the right side has to do with our lifestyle, and the left side has to do with older projects. And then just take a note on yourself and just reflect. If you feel more tightness on the right side, is that true for you? Does that make sense in your life, or on the left? And so this is a very powerful little flow that I'm giving you. It's called the supervisor flow. And if you place one hand on your 11 and the other hand on the groin area or upper side, you're helping the energy down the front so that the energy can ascend up the back. So this hold is very good for back projects. And if you have a back project, if it's on the spine, you can go closer to the pubic bone. And if it's more on the side, then you can go more lateral, because as it is in the front, so it is in the back. As it is above, so it is below. If we have a headache, we want to bring the energy down. If we have a knee project, we want to bring the energy up. And the same for if there's a back project, you can always go to the front. We can find the cause on the front of the body. So this hold has to do with our connection to earth, the hip line. Literally, it's grounding us. It's the survival of the body, the knowing, it's learned. And also the parent in us is learned. It's what we get from our parents, our physical being and action. So if my teacher used to say TWA, thoughts, words, and action. Thoughts, awareness, words, this psychology, our psychology, and then the physical body, the technique part, our action. The parent provides protection, judgment, and it's acquired. It's something we learn. And that ties into the technique again. And it offers us protection, boundaries, and safety. And I related it to the joyless script, to not being in touch with our body. Sometimes we take drugs to numb our bodily feelings. We can also see exactly what's going on and understand it and harmonize the cause. And then we may not need to take the painkiller or whatever. And then 11 and 25. So here we're clearing everything on the back because it allows the energy down the front. 11 and 25, when you sit on your hand, like Lisa here in this picture is doing, 11 and 25, If you're on the right side, it helps the liver and gallbladder. If you're holding the left side, you're clearing the stomach and the spleen, the organs here on the left side, and the pancreas. So the 25s, what we're sitting on, they help to regenerate the body, and children often sit on their hands, right? You can sit on both your hands and you're quietly regenerating the body. Mary Burmeister, the lady who brought Ginseng to America, she says, sitting on your 25s is like jogging on the inside. You don't need to go for your run anymore. So yeah, so play around with that. And then you can do the left supervisor flow. So this is a quick hold, 11 and 15 and 11 and 25, to help all the safety energy locations on that side. So it's very, very powerful little flow, this. And, you know, again, this is something that you can do also when you're working, because, you know, it looks so natural. And you can go more lateral or can more closer to the spine, wherever feels right for you. And yes, if you want to maybe take a picture of this, just so that I do a lot on, Lola and I do a lot on Facebook and YouTube. We have tons of live videos and free content of little flows that we're doing. We have a big community, we have a huge community. And so we would love you to join. And at this time, I also want to thank Susan Arslan, who has done such an amazing job of organizing this conference and has made us feel so comfortable. So I'm very grateful to her and also to Claire. And yeah, thank you all as well. But we have some more time now. So I would like to show you this chart one more time. And then I would like to ask you, first of all, if you have any questions, and then anything that you want to know. For example, I suffer from migraines, what can I do? And then based on this chart with these safety energy locations, I will give you one quick hold that will help to harmonize it, and maybe a finger. So yes, your questions are welcome. And I'm gonna end this this PowerPoint now. So, and then I'm gonna, yeah, we're gonna do gallery view, and then hopefully we can talk a little bit with each other. So if you have a question, just unmute. Can you put it on gallery? Yeah, thank you. Great. Okay. Okay, migraine. Let's start with migraine. So for migraine, has to do with the gallbladder energy. The gallbladder energy moves on the side of the head, back and forth and back and forth. It has to do with this hurry up driver. It's on the level of depth 3, and it has to do with blood. So a quick hold for the gallbladder flow is SEL 8 and 16. And if you have migraines, it's, so here I'm gonna do some gymnastics for you. 8 is here on the outside of the knee, and 16 is on the outside of the ankle bone. And why did you ask me this one? But okay, 16 is right here on the ankle bone, underneath the ankle bone. Okay, so you're holding these together. So you can do it like this, or you can lie down and cross your leg. It's very important that you're always comfortable. Or you can ask somebody to hold it for you, but most of you can probably reach 8 and 16. Now, if you have migraine, it's going to be on the same side leg, and you're probably going to find some congestion, probably easier to find on the 16 by the ankle bone. So if you can all just try this, because this helps so many different things. This also helps the back. This hold helps. It's one of the most dynamic holds. It helps fever. It helps to clear the chest. It helps the lungs, because I said as it is above, so it is below, right? So here you're holding these points on your leg. You're bringing the energy down. It's very good for children as well when they have a fever. You can just, you know, pull that fever right down. Bladder headaches or gallbladder headaches, migraines, And it's also good for depression, because when there's a depression, the energy is stuck in the head, and we want to bring the energy down. And by holding 8 and 16, you're helping the bladder and the gallbladder energy, which both are descending flow patterns. They bring the energy down from the head to the feet. And so what you're feeling for is, you can hold it for a few minutes. I like to hook my fingers into it, and then you can really feel the tightness in there. And you wait for this pulsation that we practiced with the fingers. When you feel this, so you're not really pressing or pushing very hard, but you can hold it firmly, but you still want to feel this pulsation. When you feel the pulsation, that's when the energy begins to spiral to core and back out to surface. And the texture in it, if there's any soreness in their points initially, it will change. And that's how quickly our body really changes. I mean, you can see the transformation and feel the transformation right away. And so that's all what we need to do. And so this works preventatively as well. You want to keep, if you have migraines, your 8 and 16s open. Ginseng is also great in an emergency. Actually, I've taught nurses who work in the emergency room, and they've used it for pain, for any kind of pain in the body. So it works great for emergencies as well. I've done it many times on airplanes where people have collapsed. I have so many stories. I won't go into that, so I'd rather answer you, but please, yeah. So, okay, let me see. Do you want to just read them off to me?
Yeah.
What would you recommend for issues around food and people wanting to lose weight but struggling? So I would work with, for weight loss, you can hold 21 and opposite SEL 23. And 23, I'm gonna show you. It's right here on the middle of the back. Yeah. So the right 23 is where the stomach flow begins. And 23 is also on the stomach line. So this is a perfect hold to harmonize digestive issues, for weight loss. And you can see which side feels more comfortable for you, if it's the left or the right. This is the right stomach flow, the left stomach flow. The right stomach flow helps us to break down, and the left stomach flow helps to build. But again, it's always the balance between right and left. So I hope that answers your question. For eczema, one of the easy things you can do is holding the index finger, and it helps deeper skin projects. Also, the ring finger helps. This depth too has to do with deeper skin and connective tissues and skin projects. And also the thumb helps skin surface. So another quick hold for eczema is palming the calves, and that helps any kind of skin condition, and you can do it like this. Oh, how fun. How much fun we have here. Okay, you can just slide your fingers up like this and palm the calves. So this would help the right side of the body. And when you point your fingers down, you help the left side of the body. So this is very easy also to do on somebody else. You lie them on their stomach and you place your hands like this on their calves, and then like this. And that's also very good for any kind of skin project, for burns, sunburns, skin allergies, any kind of these kind of things. Yes. Okay, let me see. What would you recommend for issues? Oh, we did that one. I have a lot of hip and back pain. Yes, so the bladder flow, yeah, you should all get this book. They have a discount too, right? Yeah, they have a discount. I think they created a special discount for you, but the bladder flow is in here, and the bladder flow helps with back and neck issues. And also on my YouTube, I have many videos for back and neck pain and all this kind of thing, but I'm going to give you a quick hold. And the first step of the bladder flow is the middle of the neck and the tailbone, which is the base of the spine. And that's the first step of the bladder flow. So this is very good for depression as well, because the flow moves over the top of the head and then down. It's good for neck pain, back pain, hip pain, back of the leg pain, tight muscles. And then do you remember that hold we did for migraines, 8 and 16? 8 and 16, you can do that after. So then you've almost done the whole bladder flow. 8 and 16 is a quick hold for the bladder flow as well. Okay, so much fun and so much to learn. And I just want to make sure that you all walk away with something. And even if you just hold a finger, you're practicing the art of Jinshen. So just remember that. Let me see what else we have. Teeth are sensitive to hot drinks on the right side of my mouth. I love an idea for that, please. For sensitive teeth, teeth are also on the fourth depth. So again, the index finger, if it also, I'm just thinking about the gums. The stomach energy moves through the gums, the stomach flow. So this is the first step of the stomach flow. And that will probably be very, that will be good for the teeth as well. The stomach flow, first step of the stomach flow. But yeah, I would also get into that bladder flow, the one we just did, of the back of the neck and the coccyx. Okay, let me see what else we have. I suffer from you all have hard questions. Wow. Trigeminal neuralgia. So that has to do with the nerves, and would love to not have to take anti-epileptic drugs associated with it. Okay. Trigeminal. So the trigeminal nerve moves about the same, the way the stomach flow moves through our jaw. So I would recommend the stomach flow, which is like this, on the side that you have the pain on. Stomach flow is really interesting. It moves all through the face like this and through here. So we're looking at these pathways also. If you have a pain somewhere, we can go to the energy pathways. And those, I have all those lined out in the book, how they move through. So yeah, I think this is good. And also the large intestine flow moves through the bottom part here of the teeth. And that goes as follows: the large intestine flow, 11 and the index finger. And when in doubt, you can always go to the fingers. If I talk stomach flow, you can hold your thumb. Quick hold would be the thumb for the trigeminal pain. My friend has an early pregnancy alongside fibroma. We are wishing the fetus grows and not the fibroma. Doctors say it's a lottery. Okay, so for the fibroma, anything going on in the pelvic area, you can hold the 8. So for fibromas not to grow, see, it will probably be on the opposite 8 to where the project is. And if you really keep the 8s open, then the fibroma, will not grow. So, but for it to work, you really do have to practice it. Okay. I once had a client, she's like, well, yeah, it's not working, the self-help. And I said, did you practice? And she said, no. Well, okay, you have to practice for it to work. So really work those 8s. That pregnant lady can do it on herself every time, every day, all the time. She can keep those 8s open. And gastric issues, the 11s are really important. The large intestine flow moves through the 11s, through T1, thoracic vertebrae 1, to the other side. So you can hold your shoulder and make a mudra with the thumb over the ring fingernail, like this. This will help gastric issues because this helps the intestines as well, the ring finger. And here the 11 pulls it all the way through, helping the large intestines. Eye allergies. Generally, I feel that any kind of allergies have to do with the immune system. So the key to the immune system is actually where I am right now. This is 11, and then this is 3. 3 is the tip of the shoulder blade, and that's the key to the immune system. So also for all of you who are getting vaccinated, this little hold is very, very important pre and post vaccine, keeping your immune system up for any kind of allergies. And you can check both sides.